Hello, welcome to my first video. I suppose you're wondering who I am. Without wishing to sound like a rehash of a Mighty Boosh character, I go by many names. Some call me the Anti-Pope. Don't ask. Others call me Hector. I blame the fact that I'm an overweight homosexual. Others call me Monty. Once again, because I am an overweight homosexual with a love of tweed. Well, you've accidentally found yourself here, so I'll begin. My wry and sometimes obnoxious observations on certain subjects may well not be what you enjoy. In fact, you may disagree with me. Perhaps you may agree with me, and somewhere in this great cosmos, we will have found each other, as if I have reached out of the computer screen and stroked the tear from your cheek, for you thought you were alone. Yes, that does sound rather creepy, doesn't it? Don't linger on the idea of my large hands sliding through your computer screen late at night and touching you in the dark, because that won't be the start of a positive relationship. We're going to discuss libraries. I love libraries. That's a lie. I'll tell lies occasionally. I love books. Books are the thing that I enjoy the most. You can keep your e-readers, your Kindles, your Nooks, your whatevers, your iPads, your electronic devices that have captured words. Give me the feel of a real book, the smell of old paper. Give me the weight of a great tome, or the flimsy, almost temporary nature of a pamphlet. I'd much rather carry a heavy bag than slip a Kindle into the inside pocket of my tweed overcoat. I love books. I've surrounded myself with them. At times, I've spent more money on books than I have anything. A man is never alone when he has a book. I quote books, plays, poems, T.S. Eliot, Philip Larkin, all the way down to Eric Hobsbawm, Sean Lang. He's a historian, and I know him personally. I've read J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. I've read some of the classic tomes of literature, and I've read books that most people will never ever read, because I devour them in their romance and their beauty and their existence as the published word. And yet, I hate libraries. Often people, when I discuss this with them, will ask me how somebody who loves books and knowledge and the sharing of such. I've lost so many books to giving them to friends. Read this. You'll love this bit. This changed my life, or it made me laugh. I have wept on a bus at 22 minutes past 5 when I finished the last Terry Pratchett Discworld novel, The Shepherd's Crown. I wept because I knew then, considering he'd passed away some 6 to 7 months earlier, that I would never again have the pleasure of reading for the first time an adventure in Discworld. One can always go back and reread, like visiting an old friend for coffee. And as you sip that hot liquid, talking about what we used to do, the men and women we were, the faces we wore, the shoes we trod in, sometimes even the shit we found lodged into the intricate waves of the rubber on that particular pair of boots. But to know that it would always be a case now of rereading somewhat touched the soul, and on that late dark night, after a long day in a museum, it touched the very heart of the man. And once again, I restate, I hate libraries. Libraries are a prison of the mind and of books. There is a certain snobbery, a certain exclusivity. Elitism exists in libraries. Those prison guards with their lanyards and their access keys, those who tell you the book that you laboured over is 2 days overdue and you owe the local authority 70 pence, sit there in their ivory tower in their majesty, looking at books, watching them be taken, returned, leafed through, loved, corners bent here and there, a misplaced bookmark, purchased perhaps on a happy week in the Isle of Wight from Osborne House, now to be found and perhaps discarded by the latest person who picks up a book and reads it and finds the place where you left it, perhaps unfinished because you couldn't go on, too dry, too complex, disinteresting, or perhaps in that moment a great calamity in life meant that you had to do the most difficult thing and put a book down and return to reality. Illness, loss or death, things that books should be allowed to take you away from, to hold you, nurture you and keep you safe, a buffer between this world and the next. But alas, those great keepers of the text call it back, announce, "You are overdue, your 3-week period, sir, has ended. There is a waiting list." I hate libraries. I hate their shelves, each a cell for books crammed in together, books of note and worth next to books of little existence, temporary books, books concerning needlecraft or knitting, not far from biographies of the great heroes of our age. And yet within that too, the biography section, there is the horror of knowing one could read a book on Edward VII of the House of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha and discover the majesty of the man that reforged the Ancien, not the Ancien, forgive me, but the Entente Cordiale with France. But then one could trip and stumble and find themselves reading a book written by one of the great actors of the age, or Stephen Fry, that national treasure, only to fall further into darkness and find that Katie Price has written about her trite life. I am not one to judge books. I am one to judge libraries. Libraries are higgledy-piggledy places. They are books stacked upon books and their individuality lost. And what is this reverence we show books and libraries? The art of whispering, silent cork-bottomed shoes, rubber soles to avoid the clacker of hard soles on wooden floors, and wooden floors have gone to carpet, to steel, to glass. The bookshelves now, utilitarian steel affairs. What happened to wood? and they look at you as if you have just walked in to their very home, gone past them at the dinner table without a word of leave and uninvited, and you have taken yourself to their kitchen, opened their fridge, removed the salad crisper, dropped trowel and undergarment, squatted over said salad crisper, and opened your bowels, leaving a gift, organic but not suitable for tomorrow's Caesar salad. Who are they to control books? Who are they to control our history? I hate libraries because I've never felt at home in them. I've always found reading to be so solitary, intimate in fact. Even in the sharing of a text, a quote, there is an intimacy that cannot be denied. The conspiratorial, have you read? You really must see. Oh, how it moved me. I remember now the first time I read the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by T.S. Eliot. I have seen my life measured out in coffee spoons. I have seen the eternal footman hold my coat and snicker, and in short, I was afraid. That was quite intimate to me, to share those words that had long since been written down by a man now long dead. And yes, I spoke to friends, people I still love, the family I chose, about Eliot and how those words had moved me. And they had moved them too, but in different ways and different parts, where the women come and go and talk of Michelangelo. And in libraries, there is an attempt to make reading communal. Yet it should be the refuge and the retreat from the day-to-day hell that we walk through. To read a book, to drift away to Wonderland or Neverland, to Middle Earth or Hogwarts, or perhaps even 1950s London and the work of the midwives there. We should be allowed to drift off into the unknown and the well-known, but we should be allowed to do it alone. We should be allowed that intimacy, and libraries have long denied it, forcing us to share that moment, as if putting us with our beloved book, but with a screen between us, in one of those trite American prison scenes from any movie, the book perhaps in a yellow jumpsuit. A brief moment, a snatched look, suddenly to be ripped away. I hate libraries. I hate them because in them I must be someone else. I cannot laugh or sing or cry. Books have moved me as much as music. But there they are cold and they are dead as the trees that made the page. How long before libraries fall to the rising craze of e-books, to pixels over ink, to LCD over paper? How long before I'll be forced to take a tablet device to a library and download a PDF? How long before not only do I hate libraries, but there are no libraries left to hate? How long before the masters in power those elected ones, take what's left. And then I won't so much hate libraries, but mourn them. We'll all mourn them when they go. I hate libraries.